Hi everyone, this is Miss S from Excelsior Charter School, and today we're going to be covering Geometry Lesson 1-9, which is on perimeter, circumference, and area. So we have some vocabulary that we need to get through today, and so to begin, we're going to start with perimeter. So perimeter is the distance all the way around the outside of a two-dimensional shape. And to find that, we will simply add or get the sum of all the lengths of all of its sides. If we happen to be on a circle, however, it doesn't actually have any sides, and perimeter has a fancy name, and it's called the circumference. So all the way around a circle is the circumference of a circle, just like all the way around a different figure is a perimeter. It is important to know that whenever we're talking about circles, we will always be talking about pi. This is the figure for pi, and we use an approximation for that as 3.14. On your calculators, you also have a pi button, and you can use that if you want to. All right, so now we move on to area. So area is just kind of the space that occupies that shape, or the number of unit squares that cover that surface area. So you use area all the time whenever you need to do any remodeling in your homes. If you need to put in new carpet or new tile, if you need to get paint for the walls, if you need to do the cabinets or the countertops, you definitely need to know what the area is. So this kind of shows you 4 different options there for area. All right, there are formulas that you can use to find the perimeter and the area of different shapes. So we're going to go ahead and begin with the square. So to find the perimeter of a square, you would add up the 4 sides, and since it's a square, all the sides are the same length, so you can actually just multiply one of those sides by 4. You can, of course, also add them all together, s plus s plus s plus s, and that will give you the perimeter of a square. Area is of a 4-sided figure is always one side times the other side. In this case, both of those sides are s, so you could use the formula a equals s squared. All right, we're going to move on to rectangles now. All right, so far in your math experience, you've probably learned length and width of a rectangle, and in geometry, we won't normally call them that. We will normally call them a base down here and a height on the side, but length and width will also work. So to find the perimeter, you would take the base plus the height plus the second base plus the second height, or 2 times the base plus the height. So whichever way you wanted to do that, so perimeter could equal 2b plus 2h, that would work, or 2 times b plus h is a second way. And then to find the area, remember you do one side times the other. So the area of a rectangle would be base times height. And now we'll move on to circles. So before we begin with circles, it is important to know, here's a circle and here's the center of the circle. Any line from the center of a circle to the outside is called a radius, and it gets the lowercase letter r. And if you have 2 of those together that form a line, like this here, that's actually called a diameter, d. So a diameter is the same thing as 2 radii. That's the single for radius. So 2 radii equal 1 diameter. All right, so in order to find the circumference of a circle, you need the 2 radii, 2r, and multiply it by pi. Another way to write this, since 2 radii are the same thing as a diameter, you can write pi times d, and you will also get a radius that way. So depending on what they give you, if they give you the radius, you can use this one here, 2 pi r. If they give you a diameter, you can use this one here, pi d. Either way, you'll still get the circumference. When it comes to area of a circle, you always need the radius, and you're going to square the radius and then multiply it by pi. And the area of a circle is always pi r squared. All right, we're going to move on to our 2 postulates now. Postulate 1.9 says that if 2 figures are congruent, then their areas are also equal. And then postulate 1-10 says that the area of a region is the sum of the areas of its non-overlapping parts. So that comes into play here when we go on to the next thing, which is irregular shapes. Okay, so to show you how to find the area of an irregular shape here, we are going to use question 9 on this lesson, and it wants to know what the area is. And so it breaks it into pieces like this. So we're actually going to find this rectangle first, which is 10 times 5. So in the blue here, we have 10 times 5, which is 50. And then we'll find here in the red, we'll do this rectangle here, which the red would also be 10 times 5, which is another 50. And then we'll do the yellow here in this square, which is